Hi there, my name's Travis from Soul Remedy, and today I wanted to talk to you about the Stream of Miracles retreat that we host in Peru every year. We've been doing this retreat about 7 or 8 years, and it's just something I really love sharing with people, so excited to tell you guys about it. We do things a little bit differently than a lot of retreats down there. We actually found a couple different teachers that we really liked and put them all together in one retreat. So I was actually traveling in Peru, working with a bunch of different teachers and visiting different retreats and stuff before I put this together, kind of cherry picking the best of what I found in Peru and putting them together in one thing so people can kind of experience it all and learn about healing and themselves and the world around them from multiple perspectives and styles of living. And I think that's what really makes the retreat special is you're not just focused on one style, having somebody tell you like the best way to do things is my way, but we're actually doing things where you get to work with different healers and different medicines that come at working on the same problems and helping us in the same areas of our lives, but going about it in totally different ways. And so you get to find what works best for you, and you also just get to see things from multiple points of view, which for me especially is really helpful when I'm trying to learn just to understand different perspectives. Um, so most people on the retreat are coming to work with plant medicines. So we work with San Pedro, ayahuasca, and rape during the retreat. San Pedro and ayahuasca especially complement each other in this really nice way because the San Pedro is very nurturing and loving and gentle and very practical, focused on the here and now in your life, how to be a good person, how to have more gratitude, live your life more fully, get along with the people around you better. It's very focused on like day to day, how do you get the most out of your life and be a good person. Ayahuasca, on the other hand, is very visionary, sometimes out of body, often very focused on the spiritual. It might be a little bit harder to understand sometimes, but it's very powerful and cleansing. And, they both help you with healing, releasing trauma, with finding more love and growing your compassion and things like that. But they go about it in really different ways. And I actually find I get the most benefit working with both of them. And so that's why I wanted to include both in this retreat. And we actually work with different healers for these medicines too. So for San Pedro, we work with one of my best friends. Her name's Leslie Myberg. A lot of people know her as the Gringa. There's tons of info about her online because she's just this really special person. And so a lot of people like to interview her and post interviews online, or multiple people have written books about her, including myself, actually. So we work with Leslie, and she has this private garden right next to the Temple of the Moon, which is an amazing temple that we actually get to experience during ceremony, which is pretty special. But her private garden, she just has San Pedros growing everywhere. There's hummingbirds and flowers, and we all get like our own private room to stay there as well. But there's this beautiful outdoor garden that we get to experience ceremony in, and it's really magical because Leslie's there, her boys Mark and Simon are there, and they're both healers themselves. I'll be there, and we usually have a couple members of the Keros tribe there with us too. So there's all these healers present, just kind of going around checking on everybody, making sure you're doing all right, see if you need help. And if you're doing great, we just let you have your own experience with San Pedro, because San Pedro will really teach you how to heal yourself. But if you need help, we're glad to help you with something or just have a good laugh with you, share a hug. And during the San Pedro ceremonies, everyone's also going to get a cleansing from the Keros healers. So one of them will come around with these condor feathers and some burning palo santo and give everyone a smudging or a cleansing with that. And it's part of all the San Pedro ceremonies that we host. And about 6 or 7 hours into the ceremony, once you're kind of over the most challenging hump of working with the medicine, but you're still deep in it, we offer for those who want to go on an adventure to go visit some of the temples that are just right outside the garden. So if you're still really deep in the San Pedro and you don't want to go on that, you can stay in the garden, and a couple of the healers will stay there with whoever wants to remain in the garden. But if you're feeling adventurous and you want to go visit the temples, a couple of us will take the group out to see the temples. And just to give you an idea of what it's like there, you open the front doors of her garden, and the Inca Trail is right in front of her house. So you can actually start at the beginning of the Inca Trail right in front of our house and walk all the way to Machu Picchu if you wanted to. So it's a long walk. We're not going to do that during the retreat, but it's just cool to like, oh, we're right here where the Inca Trail starts from Cuzco. And right on the other side of that road, you can see Temple of the Moon, which is actually my favorite temple in Peru. There's also the Monkey Temple, the Frog Temple, the Condor Temple. There's just temples all over the place. Every direction you could walk, there's just temples. There's some eucalyptus forests and these beautiful like mountain ridges that we can kind of explore. So it's just awesome getting to like start the ceremony in this safe, private, nurturing garden. But then, if you're feeling ready, you can kind of go have this adventure into nature, into these old Peruvian temples to experience like the energy and the magic that's there. Because when you're open and sensitive from the San Pedro, you can really appreciate the temples on a deeper level, and it's pretty amazing to experience. So, we do the San Pedro ceremonies with Leslie, and then we have two ayahuasca ceremonies with Kush. And Kush has been working with ayahuasca about 50 years, and he hosts ceremony with his wife Erica. So they have this awesome masculine feminine balance going on in the ceremonies. And he usually has one or two apprentices or other shamans working with him, and of course I'll be there to help out too. And the thing I love about Kush, well, there's a few things I love about him. His personality is the first thing that comes to mind. Just he's always smiling, and everything he says, he's just laughing. He's one of like the happiest, funniest people I've ever met. He's an indigenous Peruvian, but he speaks pretty good English. So he just has this magical way with words, the way he describes things about living a happy life and about spirituality and healing. He's just really easy to understand, and he just has these beautiful metaphors and ways of explaining things that just really make sense. And I just love talking to him and being around him, hearing his laughter. But also in the ceremony, he's just so nurturing to everybody that's there. If you start to get cold in the ceremony, him or one of the assistants pops up immediately with a blanket, covers you with the blanket, and tucks you in all neat and nice. If you need to purge from the ayahuasca, as soon as you're puking in your bucket, somebody pops up with a clean bucket for you, takes your dirty one, and they'll give you as many clean ones as you need. It doesn't matter. They're just there to make sure that you're as comfortable as you can be because ayahuasca is really challenging enough. So it's nice having these little comforts there. Like there's something really meaningful about it in the moment when you're really deep in the ayahuasca and it's beautiful, but it's hard. And then somebody's there just to like be really kind to you and show you some love and compassion. It feels really meaningful in the ceremony. And his music is some of the most amazing music I've ever heard. Just the entire ceremony, there's almost no silence. It's just constant music. And sometimes he's even dancing while he's singing, and Erica sings, and the other shamans or apprentices will sing. Sometimes they all start singing together. It's a magical ceremony. I've seen Kush do things I did not know were possible. I've sat with a lot of ayahuasca healers, and to me, Kush is just a couple levels beyond any of the other healers I've sat with. And some of the ones I've sat with are the more popular, well known, well respected healers in Peru. So I think he has something really special to offer, and I love working with Kush. And I love having the two ayahuasca ceremonies in between two San Pedro ceremonies. So we start and end with San Pedro and have ayahuasca in the middle. So the first San Pedro, like I said, is you're kind of building that foundation of light and love and building a little trust with the plants, kind of opening your heart a bit. And then the ayahuasca is all about going deep into yourself, into your spirituality, and just learning deeply from the plants. And it's just a really powerful medicine to experience, especially in a very well led ceremony. And this is as good as they get. Um, And then I love finishing with San Pedro because you're so open by the time we get to it that that's usually the deepest of all four of those ceremonies. It's that last San Pedro because you're so open when you get there and you've done so much groundwork leading up to it that you often just go really deep. But because it's San Pedro and San Pedro is all about the heart and living a good life, it also helps you put the pieces together from all the previous ceremonies. So all of a sudden it just feels like it's all been one journey. Even though it was four different ceremonies, they all go together like they were one. And in that last San Pedro, it's like all the pieces fit together and make sense, and you know how to bring it back into your life and how to integrate everything that you're learning and experiencing in Peru in a way that's really profound and helpful for you. So it's just awesome having that order. And then we use rape in between and even during the ceremonies, just as a way to kind of help process and help everything move well. And it's awesome working with the rape, especially. I'll teach a workshop because you can buy some rape down in Peru at the shops that I like to buy my rape from. It's really high quality, and you can take that home with you. So you got a medicine to work with at home. So if you ever get back home and you're having a rough day and you're struggling to remember all that love and wonder that you were experiencing in Peru, you can use the rape to kind of reconnect with that, reprocess a little bit, and just get back on track. It's really nice. Um, so we're working with a lot of plant medicines, obviously, but we're also working with the Keros tribe, and I actually think that's maybe the most magical part of the entire retreat. The Keros tribe, if you haven't heard about them, they're considered the most traditional people still living in Peru. When the Spanish came 500 years ago, the Kero actually fled really, really high into the mountains. Nobody thought it was possible to live that high because it's so barren and harsh up there, but they just stayed up there and were basically isolated, so they didn't really have any of the modern or European or Catholic influence or anything like that. They just kept living the way they've always lived, and they stayed very close to their roots and their traditional culture. And they don't do healing with plant medicines really. They're known as some of the best healers in Peru, but they actually work with offerings to the Mother Earth and the mountain spirits, and they work with a sacred altar and weaving and stuff more like that. So, like I said, we'll do the two cleansing ceremonies during San Pedro with them, and those are very nice. But we're also going to do a Despacho ceremony with them, and that's what they're the most known for. So, Despacho is an offering that you make to Mother Earth and the Apu spirits, giving thanks and giving back. So in our retreat, we really want to encourage gratitude and reciprocation and giving back to Peru. We don't just want to go there to receive. We want to give something back. So this is one of the ways we do that is with this offering. I'll tell you about the other way a little bit later, but we do this offering to give back to the spirits that are teaching us so much and helping us so much. And I think that's the most powerful ceremony in the whole retreat. Usually, when everybody's leaving at the end of the retreat, most people are saying that was the most impactful ceremony for them. You get to do something really special. We make this beautiful mandala with the Kero, putting prayers and intentions into every single object that goes into the mandala. And when we're done, we'll burn it to send our prayers up to the heavens. And it's really magical experience. And it's really special. And I mentioned the Kero, they also work with sacred altar. So if you want to, you can actually receive a sacred altar from the Keros during our retreat. I'm going to teach a workshop on how to work with it and how to like grow and build your altar at home because it's a personal altar. So you might just get the foundation and the beginnings of it from the Keros, but you need to build it with things that are meaningful to you. And I'll teach you all about that if you want to bring an altar home. That's another beautiful way to stay connected with Peru and grow your medicine at home even after the retreat. Yeah, so we get to do all the ceremonies, but like I said, there's another way we're going to give back. So, that's a lot of ceremonies in a short period of time. You need a little rest in between. But instead of just sitting at the retreat center and not really doing much, I think it's a little bit better for us to go experience some Peruvian culture and to actually give back a little bit. So the first thing we're going to do is go to this animal sanctuary. On the way to a town we're going to visit called Pisac. So the animal sanctuary, they rescue endangered animals that are being poached or kept in captivity for entertainment and things like that. So we're actually helping them rescue these endangered species. And a lot of the animals that they keep there, they're going to rehabilitate so that they can release them. And a lot of them are the sacred animals of Peru, like the condor, the serpent, and the puma, and these sacred animals that mean a lot to the Peruvians that we're going to be learning about in all the ceremonies we're doing. We actually get to go meet those animals and experience, encounters with them up close and personal. And we're helping them. We're supporting this place. So it's one of our ways of giving back. We call it like ecotourism or sustainable tourism because it's not tourism that just is trying to take from the local communities, but is actually trying to help leave the place better than when we found it. So we're going to visit that on the way to Pisac. Pisac's pretty amazing. There's a big temple there and the largest outdoor market in Peru. That's where I like to get my rape. They sell lots of musical instruments there. If you get an altar from the Keros, there's a lot of shops that sell really amazing altar items and shamanic tools that become part of your altar. it's just this nice place to kind of visit and see some more of Peru. And it also gives us some rest time in between ceremonies. And at the end of the retreat, it's a optional extension, but we're going to go see Machu Picchu. It's a 2-day trip to get to Machu Picchu, so we're going to take the train there and back. It's a beautiful train ride through the mountains along this gorgeous river. And in Cusco, we're going to be so high up that it's kind of like beautiful barren mountains with glaciers and stuff. But when we take the train ride to Machu Picchu, we're going to a lower elevation, so it's going to become highland jungle. So now we get to experience some of the jungle, which is fun. And we're going to stay in Aguascalientes. It's this beautiful, beautiful little town right under Machu Picchu. It's on the river, surrounded by jungle, and just all the buildings there are gorgeous. It's just this really happy, magical little town, kind of nestled, hidden in the mountains, and you can kind of see Machu Picchu up above you while you're there. We're going to get up early in the morning to get into Machu Picchu, be some of the first people in, because we're going to watch sunrise in Machu Picchu. And we're going to have a guided tour as well as some free time to just explore. And, Machu Picchu is one of the most magical places in the world. It'd be a shame to visit Peru and not to see Machu Picchu, but especially after doing all these ceremonies and learning about the Peruvian culture, you can really appreciate Machu Picchu on another level. So that's why we like to end the retreat with that. Just a special memory to take home with you, and just a little bit of time to kind of process everything you're doing and learning in Peru before you go home. So I hope you're able to make it out on our trip with us down to Peru. One of my favorite places in the world. I got married there. I've taken my whole family down there, and I've been taking groups for a bunch of years. It's something I love to do, just being there for people, sharing what I love, and helping out any way I can. If you want to make it down with us, just reach out. Best way is to email me. My email is travis@soulremedy.org. I can send you all the info, itinerary, prices, and all that, and kind of take care of everything for you. So all you really got to do is sign up with me and buy your plane ticket, and I'll take care of the rest. Talk to you soon.